Today is Wednesday. On Sunday is going to be my last race of the season, District Criterium Championships for us old guys. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. Zwift says I'm a Category B. Zwift.power now says I'm a Category B, so I'm racing Category Bs today. Usually I'm the oldest guy in the race by far, but in this combined field, I saw there's another 67-year-old in the Category A's. Now there goes one of my excuses. Well, at least I can claim that I'm the only one, probably the only one, subject to atrial fibrillation. And for those of you not familiar with my channel, that's what my YouTube channel's about. An old guy racing bicycles still that's subject to atrial fibrillation. The reason I didn't join my regular Wednesday fast group ride is because it's about 110 degrees out there. Yes, I live in Central California and there's a major heat wave going on. Fortunately, it ends Friday night, Saturday morning, and I'm going to be racing Sunday, and I'm going to be racing on the coast. I had accumulated a lot of fatigue, and I took yesterday off, and I was going to take today off, but my legs were feeling pretty good, so I decided to give myself a little bit of a test and see how I would feel during a race. I had been doing mostly C category races, but again, now that I'm a B, I'm doing a B race, and so this is my first B race in quite a while. I survived the initial 20-30 second surge that happens at the beginning of the race, and now I'm still with the front group, and so, that's a good sign. This is about a 15-mile race. I figure pretty darn soon that the A's and the B's are going to really light it up, and it looks like it's happening right now. And this is the point where things split up and then I'm not in the front group anymore, but it's looking like, I'm making it to the front group again. I'm still here. This wasn't a huge field. There were maybe 42 people in this group. We had about 13 people sign up for the Category Bs, in which 10 finished. We have 4 finishers in the Category As, 12 finishers in the Category Cs, and I think 7 finishers in the Category Ds. Because this is my first B race in quite a while, I'm trying to just follow wheels and not use any energy, or at least as little energy as I can. This is the volcano circuit. There's not a lot of climbing, but there is some key climbing in it. In fact, let's jump over to one of those key climbs right now. In fact, the most key of the climbs. So this, when it gets steepest, is about 6%. And I start the front so I can have a little bit of a buffer, but I am mistaking on how fast these guys decided to go up this very first time. All of a sudden I'm at the back, I'm using every bit of buffer, I have now lost wheels. So now I'm in danger of getting dropped. So I'm just pushing everything I can, I'm close to 400 watts. I'm thinking that as soon as I enter the cave, then I'm going to be fine, but it still is going up. So I have to keep up the pressure because there's somebody that's trying to jump out there. It's probably a Category A, but still, that's another 4 laps of this 5-lap race that rider has to go. Probably what he's hoping for is that some others are going to jump out and join him. So from my point of view, what happens is you're going to have a lot of A's and B's trying to jump across, and that's going to put even more pressure on me. And this is where usually I will lose contact, and then I'm looking to form some group. In addition to all this consternation, we are still going up. We are gaining elevation. And that's not going to stop until we cross that eventual finish line that's up ahead. I need to make it over the top even though it's so close, because I can just drop off about a second before and then that would be it. And thank goodness I did. So it may be going up a little bit, but it's pretty much flat right here, and then it's going to start to go down, thank goodness, to give me a little bit of a rest. So I'm able to go toward the front, get a little bit of a buffer. That other rider's still out there, but as long as I can follow their wheels, I'll be fine. When you look at my wattage in the upper left-hand corner, keep in mind that my 1 hour threshold is about 275 watts. It's the calculated threshold. My VO2 max starts around 290 watts. Looking at the graphics on the right, the finish to that first lap has caused a split, and now we are down to about a group of 17. For most of the race, I do a pretty good job in finessing my power to stay in the middle of the pack. That means that I let up before I find myself floating toward the front, and I apply enough power when the pack is starting to increase its speed, so I don't fall off the last wheel at the back. Kind of like what I'm doing right here, except when I go off to the left, then what I have to do is slow down just a bit so that eventually my avatar moves over to the right and I'm on somebody's wheel. And it's taken a little while for that to happen this time, so there we go. I've now jumped to that second key climb, second lap. And let's see how I do. Now, I was at the front, but they're taking off fast, so again, I am behind the 8 ball. So I have to apply a lot of power just to get onto the wheel end and go toward the front, because again, there could be more attacks. Again, most everybody, being A's and B's, are stronger than I am. And there is the gap, so I'm keeping on the pressure. I'm doing over 470 watts. I'm hoping they let up toward the top. I'm not letting up, and yes, I do get connected to them, and thankfully so. While we still have more elevation gain to get to the end of the lap, I have significantly let up on my power so I don't float off past the first person in the front. This way I can get some extra rest and still have that buffer staying in the pack. I tend to recover quickly, so having that little bit of rest helps. Now, a little too much rest. I'm now putting out extra power to compensate for just resting a little too much. So I'm back with these guys, and again, I'm on the left side, so I'm in the wind. I'm letting up just a little bit, hoping that my avatar quickly gets over to the right. Okay, now I'm in a draft. At the end of lap 2, we have Lost Rider. We are down to a pack of 16. And the next group is about 47 seconds away. The rider that was on a solo breakaway eventually was brought back. I think he burned a lot of matches. Jumping ahead once again to lap 3, this is the climb. Okay, we already started the climb. I'm in a better position, but darn it, I'm on the left side and I'm in the wind again, but some people move up and I'm kind of protected. So I'm still doing around 450 watts to keep up with these guys. I'm still feeling strong, but I also realized that 2 more times up this thing that I may not be feeling strong as I am now. We have 2 or 3 riders in the front trying to stretch things out, trying to establish their own breakaway. We're chasing after them. I was doing close to 500 watts just to stay up with these guys. Now I'm dialing back a bit. I'm figuring if they want to continue the chase, I'm going to try and ride their wheels while they do so. And I'm hoping that we'll pull those guys back in. If we don't, I'm hoping they're all A's. A couple of C category riders that are in our group are now split off by about a second behind us, maybe 2 seconds. I'm looking at the graphics on the right. And they can still catch us, but it all depends on what the rest of the pack does. My main concern right now is just sticking with the rest of this group up here. As we're crossing the lap line, I'm looking at the graphics on the right. I'm seeing that we have about 15 riders left in this group. I thought we had maybe 16 last time. I'm not quite sure, but 15 is what we have now. Those riders in front of me don't want to let that breakaway attempt go. They're still pushing it. I am pushing close to 350 watts, and I'm hoping that I can maintain that. I'm still connected, and it looks like those in front of me are letting up a bit, so I am letting up. And it looks like that we pulled everybody back in. There is no breakaway, at least not at this time. Same climb again, lap 4, the penultimate climb. Learning from the other 3 climbs, I realized I have to put in a lot more energy at the beginning to keep my buffer a lot longer. And these guys are also putting more energy too, but I am still connected and it looks like I've made a good decision. I'm also thinking about what I need to do for this last climb up because it leads to the finish. My typical maneuver is to start from about 1 kilometer out and then just pour on the gas and just hold it. But usually that's been with the C categories. Now I'm in the B's and there's a lot of A's with us too, so I'm not sure that's going to work. But I know that I can't sprint, so that may be what I'll have to do regardless. I am getting tired. Now, previously I'd mentioned that I was finessing my power and I was staying in the pack longer, and that's true, and that actually was happening pretty much the first 4 laps, but on the last lap, I wasn't finessing as well, and so sometimes I'd float off the front a little bit, or I'd float off the back a little bit, and I'd have to put an extra more power to get back up again. So I'm recognizing that, yeah, I'm getting tired, and we've got 1 lap to go. Entering the last lap, we are now down to a pack of 13. Here we go, last time up to the finish. I've already started powering up, and I figure I'm going to start my run before we get to the climb. That way I hope I catch them off guard, and maybe I can, maybe not win, but at least not get passed by everybody. Almost immediately, 2 of the Category A's jumped so hard that their numbers turned orange on the right-hand side. And in fact, that second guy up there, that's the 67-year-old Category A guy. So now pretty much everyone's passing me or darn close to it, so I'm trying to prevent that. My wattage is now slipping below 300 watts. Looking at the graphics on the right, and I don't see anybody behind me. These people that I'm passing now are lapped riders. I pretty much finished with the front group. I finished 6th in my category, 12th overall. And for me, That's pretty good. The next rider that came in was at about 38 seconds behind me, and the one after that was about 55 seconds behind me. That's it for the hard stuff. I'm going to take it easy before the district crits on Sunday. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. As always, remember, comment, like, subscribe, because it helps my channel, The Cycling Greek.